Okay, now we're going to continue with our demos. Um, Once again, in the Amazon Bedrock Agentcore samples, we're looking at the Agentcore evaluations. We went through one demo with prereqs. We created two agents, one with LangChain, uh, LangGraph, and one with Strands. And then we created our own custom evaluator, and we stored the evaluation ID. Now we're running the evaluations. We're in this particular notebook here, and we're taking a look to see what's going on with this notebook. Wondering why things are red here. Let's just try to run it and see what we are. Now notice I'm in my Python. Where am I right now? And in my site packages, I'm not using this command line, but let's try to get down to um, where we want to be. I'm not using the command line, but if I were to, I'd have to cd into this tutorials, Agentcore evaluations, and come into here. But let's just leave that alone for a minute. So let's run this, see what happens. Okay, so it did pull my agent ID, my agent ARN, my session ID, and my evaluator ID. So when I stored these in a previous folder project, I basically retrieved them now, and I'm using them. And once again, I'm in Strands folder, so this is the Strands agent I'm dealing with. Okay, I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, I'm importing the evaluation class, the session class from Bodo 3. Let's just do that, and that's done. And now let's execute this cell. I printed the region. I got the session. I took the region from the session, and here. Now I'm going to define my evaluation. And I instantiated an eval client using the evaluation object. Okay, good stuff. Now I'm going to run the evaluation with the Strands agent, the session ID, and the goal successor rate. And notice this evaluation results folder here. It has nothing in it. I just removed everything from it. So let's just see what happens here. Now when you first run this, it shows you some output which seems like it doesn't make sense, but now it's running. Okay, so here here it ran and used evaluation client, and it ran. And here it's looking at the results, and it's displaying all the information. Now let's run this. That gives me the correctness results. And now I'm going to iterate through the results, and hopefully I get something here. But we'll find out that what I'm getting doesn't look like much. Okay, so I'm going to just continue with this. So this is checked off. I wonder where my results are. Let's just run this. This is the tool parameter accuracy and the selection accuracy. And now I'm going to loop through the results for that. And once again, I get these, I'm printing this particular line, but it's looping a couple of times up here. Same thing, and I'm a little bit confused, saying, well, why aren't I seeing anything? And this is using an evaluation ID, and once again, I see no results. And then here, this is the save results. The results are going to the output JSON. Okay, now we look in here. We see nothing. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to find in files output. What am I doing here? Output.json. Okay, this is, let me go and do this again. Okay, notice I just did a little bit of finding, and these files magically appear, and I know that I could refresh my folder and my project, but it's kind of weird that these things just show up randomly. But this is what I was looking for, the output. Okay, so when I ran this last result and I defined an output, it should have written into this thing here. So let's just take a look at this output and see what it says. Okay, so the user added 2 plus 2. The result was very good. The value was 1. Showed me the input tokens and output tokens, etc. The weather assistant was very good, number 1. And the response and quality is very poor. Okay, and let's read this real quick. The evaluation instructions explicitly state that a response quality can only be high if the agent remains in its original scope to answer questions about the weather, mathematical queries only. But you know, it's using a large language model, so if you don't ask about the weather and you ask about something that the tool doesn't provide, you're not using the tools. So the instructions further specify to penalize agents that answer questions outside the scope, weather and math, with a very poor classification in a given context. The assistant has been handling weather queries and mathematical calculations appropriately. However, the candidate response addresses a question about the capital of the United States, which is neither a weather query or a math query. This falls outside the agent's defined scope. While the factual content of this response is accurate, the assistant should have declined to answer the question. Okay, now it's outside the weather and math query. Okay, so let's look at the system prompt. Did it have a system prompt? Okay, let's go here and let's look at the evaluator. Yeah, so we set up some of this stuff in the prereqs and custom evaluator. So you know, if we looked up this metric, penalize agents that answer questions outside its original scope, weather and math. So this particular instructions, it rated poor because we gave it instructions not to answer questions outside the scope, but it did. So so basically, that's why this last one rated as poor. So this is just a simple example about running an evaluator on an agent and saying, hey, this agent doesn't listen to his instructions. And that's really what it's trying to demonstrate here. Now, the next one is an online evaluation. So when we go into this one here, I'm going to do a video on this one. I'll show you the README file. Well, here, let's look at the README file. The README file describes a tutorial, and I recommend that you read this and determine what this thing is trying to demonstrate. So what I notice is the evaluation on demand. You're selecting specific sessions and traces to evaluate. Online, Agentcore automatically samples and evaluates based on your configuration. So there is a difference. We're going to look at that in a particular architecture video that I'm going to make. I might show the architecture video before this demo because it shows you a little bit more high-level architectural view. Okay, let's move on to the next video.